Hello, friends. Today's episode is brought to you by From Within Records. Please head over to the From Within Records web store. Pick yourself up a couple zines, Between the Lines / Turn the Tide fanzine, issue number 8. The reprint is out now. Also, Strike Force fanzine issue 2 is available. And while you're there, just pick up a 2023 roster poster. If you need to update your record collection, there's new records by Visions of Mortality, Worn, and Choice to Make. And there's Hellbound tapes. So please, do yourself a favor. Go pick something up. Go support the label. They're awesome. If you're not following From Within Records on X or Twitter, whatever you guys want to call it these days, I bounce between the two. Go boot up X or Twitter and Instagram. Click that follow button to stay up to date on all the current news. And like I always say, please support From Within Records because they support us. If you're looking for high quality merch for your band, for your business, please hit up my friends over at Good Fortune Printing out of Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. You can follow them on Instagram at Good Fortune Printing, or if you want to get in contact with them, please email them, contact@goodfortuneprinting.com. I just want to send a special shout to Choice to Make. They just had their record release show and it looked awesome. Shout out to all the bands that played. Strength for a Reason, Fool's Game, shout out Clemo. It looked fun, and I cannot wait to be back in the SWB, which will be later this summer. So please look forward to that because I'm dying to get back there. Before we get into today's guest, this is episode 399. Episode 400 will drop later this week. It will be business as usual, but we will have a new intro song, which I'm so stoked to have this new intro song. The current one, which all of you know, Blackpink, amazing group, legendary group, top 3 K-pop group of all time. And you cannot argue that. It has to be BTS, Blackpink twice. And if you think different, please, let's talk about it. But shout out Blackpink. Had a short but fun run, but we're replacing it with something that I'm just so excited for. Every time I listen to it, it just gets me so jazzed, and we'll talk more about it when it debuts. But I just want to get a quick shout out to all of the guests that have been on, to everyone who's listened through the 300s. I truly appreciate all of you, but I will get more sentimental on the actual episode 400, but that's coming later this week. So thank all of you. On today's episode, we had to track in our good friend Jay. Plays in a lot of bands, but he plays in one of my favorite bands, Bal Mora. And I've been trying to have someone from Bal Mora on the podcast for a really long time because I'm such a fan. I love Bal Mora. I love Afira Records. So it was such a pleasure for me to finally have someone from the band on. I loved talking to Jay. His story is awesome. And he's someone that I admire, right? A younger kid coming up in the scene and putting in a lot of work. Him and his friends are just doing some amazing things. And it's so fun for me to watch. And it's so cool to know that there's kids like that. And they're going to keep the scene alive in the future. So shout out to Jay. Shout out to everyone over at Afira Records. Shout out to Lumpy. It's such a cool thing. But for anyone who's listening, if you're not familiar with Afira, you're not familiar with Bal Mora, please hit pause. Go listen to Bal Mora. Go listen to the entire Afira discography, and then come back here, and you can listen to Jay and I talk about a lot of things. We talk about The Story So Far, one of our favorite bands, an amazing band, and I know that a lot of people love them just like we do. So it was really fun to be able to talk to him about The Story So Far. So please strap in, enjoy this conversation. Without further ado, welcome Jay to the show. All right, and we're recording. Jay, welcome to the podcast. How's it going?
What up? I'm chilling. How are you?
I'm doing good. It feels like we went through a lot just to get here. So I appreciate you being patient and being down to come on the podcast.
Dude, of course. I mean, like I've seen your podcasts and like seen like guests and stuff like since I got into hardcore back like a few years ago, and it was cool to see that you asked me, and I was just like, oh, dude, of course, like yeah.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the bands that you play in, so it was an honor for you to say yes. So thank you for that. But I am curious. Can you talk about how you got into hardcore? Because I'm so curious about your whole journey.
Yeah. It's not very long. It's like, I mean, obviously, I'm like young. Like I'm only 19. It's like not. It's common knowledge that I'm not really a new Jack, but I'm not really like an old Jack. Like I got in like in 2017, so like 6-ish years ago.
Okay,
but it's pre-COVID. That's all that matters. I got in pre-COVID, guys. Don't kill me. I'm not a poser. I'm here. I promise. Like, so basically, what had happened was I've been listening to hardcore music in like of sorts like my whole life without even knowing it. Like my dad would always play like Satisfaction by Hatebreed like in the car, and I just thought it was metal. Like I'm just thinking like, oh, this is dope metal vibes. And they are now, but like, they're still a hardcore band. But it was really, it's funny. I tell a lot of my friends this, and they're like, I can't believe that this is the band for you that did it. And I was like, dude, like Vane. I heard Vane in 2017, and I was just like, wait, you can do that? Like you can sound like Converge in 2017? And then like I was like, okay, so this is another metal, but it sounds like Converge. And then I saw the live video of them playing. I can't remember what the video was. It's like a top-down video of just it's like you can kind of just see the drummer in like the front of the stage. I don't remember. I think it was in like Buffalo or something like that. I can't remember, but that's when I saw like moshing and like people just like beating the shit out of each other, like 2017 Vane style, like people were just being psychos. And I was just like, wait, what is going on here? Like you can't do this at like all like the rock and metal shows that I had gone to when I was like a kid. Like I'd never seen that before. The only time I'd actually seen it before that was in the Leaving Song Part 2 video by AFI. I saw that. That was the first time I really saw moshing, but I didn't know it was like intertwined with that kind of music. And that led me on a journey to just look up videos. And like I got into hardcore through YouTube. Like I'm young. Like that's just how it was. And then I didn't actually know that there was a scene where I was from until maybe 2 years after that, like a year or 2 years after that. I was just like a YouTube, like Spotify warrior. And then I went to this place. I had signed up for this place called School of Rock in like my hometown because I wanted to play on a stage. Like I already knew how to play guitar, but I just wanted to play like on a stage with people that I met that were my age, and play all the songs that I love. Like we would play like Foo Fighters stuff, like Avenged Sevenfold stuff, like all that kind of stuff. And through there, I realized that there's like an underground music scene, like where you can like play venues that aren't big arenas and stuff like that. And I realized that hardcore shows happen there. And that's around the time when I had started like my first band with like some of my old friends. And we just like wanted to play shows like that. And everyone thought it was really cool because we were just like little kids. And they're like, how do you even know about this? Like, you want to play hardcore shows? We're like, yeah, like we do. And that's kind of it. It was really just like Spotify algorithm, playing Vane and shit like that. And then like going on YouTube and watching people like dust each other. And I was like, this is awesome.
I think that's awesome to hear how you got into it through Spotify and YouTube, because that's obviously way more modern these days versus like for me, like when I got into it, I heavily credit MySpace because because back then, without MySpace being as popular as it was, and for people to be able to control their top eights and put their friends' bands up there to kind of leave these breadcrumb trails for people who are curious like myself to discover new music, I think it's awesome because even to this day, like for me, I'm on YouTube. I love Spotify, and it does a really good job of creating this algorithm and just pulling. Like I was using my Spotify. They have that AI DJ feature. I'm not sure if you've used it before.
I did. It was funny. It was playing like Sublime, and then it went to like dissection. It was like, I see that you like both of these. I'm gonna put them together, and I was just like, this is like whiplash right now. Like,
yeah, I was driving to dinner last night, and just out of nowhere, the Spotify AI was like, "Hey, here's a Long Island hardcore playlist for you." And I was like, "Okay, like,
awesome.
let me see how accurate like this thing is, or if it's just like kind of just like pulling random like tags and putting them together." But it was super accurate.
Dude, it's like playing deep cuts, right?
Yeah, I like second band on like the block was like Jukai, and I'm like, okay, yeah, crazy. I was like, this is awesome. So for and I can see the AI DJ getting more advanced, because it would only have like this like pocket of playlists that it would play, but the more I use it as of late, it's like going in all sorts of different directions, which is like really cool, because it obviously like has been able to go back through like my entire Spotify like history. So for it to be able to
scary.
like it's scary, but it's also really fun too, because it like pull up music that I'm not like thinking about. So it's always nice to get those surprises, like, oh shit, I totally forgot about this artist.
Yeah, and then you go back into it, and it's dope. Like it played like it for me. It like played. It was like, oh, I see what you were listening to in 2016. Here's like Lil Yachty. I was like, oh shit, I remember. I love this guy. Like, this is awesome. Like, I'm gonna go listen to that record now.
Good old Lil Yachty. Yeah, I feel like I liked him a lot in the very beginning, but these days I'm just kind of just like,
yeah, it's
like,
because he broke Edge. that's why he sold out, and now
now he changed.
He's not nailed, dude.
Yeah. But you mentioned that you're already playing guitar. Can you talk about how you actually got into learning the instrument?
Oh, dude, it goes back to like, I actually started with drums. I'll just go from the very beginning. Like, I was like 3 or 4. Like, I must have been like literal infant. Like, and I just heard I heard Nightmare by Avenged Sevenfold, like that song, and then like the little drum break in the beginning that's like bah, 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 and I was like, okay, that's awesome. But then it was the chorus of that song that's like it's like a steady double bass beat over just a fourth or like an eighth ride, just hitting the bell, and it's just like, and I was like, whoa, I'd never heard that before. And I was like, I want to be a drummer. So I got like a little electric kit, like not like anything crazy, like just like a starter's electric drum kit, and I would learn. Like, I started out learning Nightmare by Avenged Sevenfold, and I was like 5, and I just, I don't know, I have this like this gene. I don't know, I never really remembered like struggling that much. It just kind of happened. It just kind of happened. Obviously it probably was like like 5-year-old sloppy, but it felt like I was really playing it. And then through there, like, Avenged Sevenfold's really like the band for me that like did it all.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like watching their music videos, and I'm seeing like Sinister Gates play this like stripe guitar. I'm like, this is so dope. I want to play guitar too. So then I was like, hey mom, I was like 5 years old. I was like, hey mom, for Christmas, can I get this Sinister Gates custom electric, like Floyd Rose, like $2,400 guitar? And she was like, do you know how to play guitar? Obviously not. She's like, maybe we won't get you that really expensive one, and we'll get you this little acoustic. So I got like a little acoustic, and I was like stubborn. I was like, okay, I'm going to learn on this. I tried to learn on it, and I just couldn't understand it. I was like, this isn't making the sound that I want it to make. So then I had worked, I had like saved up money, like half of it maybe. And I was like, can I get like an electric, like just like this little starter Squire? So then I got the starter Squire electric, and then that's when I really started to like learn. And then I started playing baseball. Didn't do that for like 9 years, for like a lot. And then I picked guitar back up when I was like 12, because I was like, okay, this is just sitting in my room, and it has been for so long. And then I just like wanted to play like a Weezer song. So like I played like Say It Ain't So by Weezer, and I was like, wait, it like makes sense now. Like, I was older and it was easier to learn. And then since then, like I'd say I've been playing music since I was 4, but like really being serious about learning an instrument, like maybe 12. And then I just played every day until now.
That's
And now
wild.
I'm,
And
yeah,
back then at 12, obviously you picked it up because you wanted to learn that Weezer song, but did you have any idea to that it would lead you to what you're doing today?
dude. If you told me that, no, I had no idea. I thought I was literally just going to be like a bedroom player, like that. I wanted to play on stages, but I didn't know that I would ever be playing my own music in like 18 different bands um across the country from where I was born and raised in Las Vegas. I'm not from Connecticut.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Las Vegas, like which part of Vegas?
I was born and raised in like downtown, like by like the east side, like the state streets,
Okay, yeah,
like near the Stratosphere.
yeah, I have friends who live on the east side.
Yeah. And then like my mom and dad split when I was really young, so she would live she had lived with she lived with her parents over still the east side, but like kind of like the upper east side, like by like Sunrise Manor and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But then like my dad was living in like the state streets, so I would just be split there like 50-50. And so I grew up with kind of both sides of just the coin of Las Vegas, and it was pretty dope. But then later, like a few years, like 3 or 4 years before I moved to Connecticut, I was living in like the Green Valley area. So like I got like a taste of like the suburb life for like 4 years. And it's pretty dope. I mean, I love Las Vegas. That's like gonna be like my home forever, you know.
And how old were you when you moved?
I moved last year. I graduated high school, and then 6 months went by, and I'd been friends with like a bunch of people from CT in the Northeast, and like obviously like at this point I'm like deep into hardcore, and I'm like
Hmm.
hardcore is really popping over there. Like that's where like Triple B Days, like all of those labels are. All these crazy shows happen that I wish that I could be seeing. And I'm like, I'm just gonna drive. Like my friend had offered me a spot to stay. And I was like, "You're serious?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm serious. Do it." So I just packed up my car and I just drove across the country, and I've been living here for a year.
That's insane. Wait. So now I'm even more curious. Did you get a chance to experience the like Las Vegas hardcore scene while you're
Just
there?
for like 2 years ish. That was where my first band played in like the Las Vegas hardcore scene for like two or so years. But then like I like fell out with all my old friends, just like high school like beef, and then
Mhm.
it just made me not really want to like interact anymore. So like I'd like go to shows, but I wouldn't be like at every show anymore. And I
Mhm.
just was like, I had already planned, like I had already started a band with people from Connecticut, and I would just like write in my room and like send them shit, and then they would just like put it together, and it was like, oh, we're in a band, but we're not really a band because we can't play shows or do anything. So like that. And then I graduated and just wanted somewhere new. Like I wanted to move out and like see the world. And
Mhm.
then that opportunity where it was like, hey, you can stay here. I was like, I can't say no to that. Like not a lot of people get the chance that I got at literally 18 to like go move across the country and like try living somewhere else like that. Like people, and like it's hard, like because I know like in Vegas, like the minimum wage is like super low. It always has been. It's hard to move out on your own after high school in Vegas to like another spot in Vegas. So having that opportunity to go from one coast to the other coast, I was like, dude, yeah. And like my family supported it too. They were like, dude, like why wouldn't you? That's awesome. Like do
And any
it.
experience living or like visiting Connecticut beforehand?
I did. I visited for a week. It was supposed to be a weekend. Like I flew out to record drums for a band that I'm in. Um, I was just like going to the drum recording. It was actually we recorded in Jersey, but it was more like it was time to experience the Northeast.
Hmm.
And then we would after we recorded, we like went to Connecticut, but I didn't know we were going to do that. We went there for a weekend. I was going to watch the drum recording and then just fly back home. But then I was like, I can't leave yet. Like I have to see like more. So then we drove to like Connecticut, Mass, like all that. Drove through New York. I was like freaking out. Like I was like I'm like driving with my Jersey friends. I'm like, that's New York City. They're like, yeah, that's New York City, dude. It sucks. I'm like, what do you mean? It's awesome. They're like, dude, it's so funny to hear you be like that's New York City, but they're like, thank God we don't have to go there today. And I'm just like, dude, I want to go there, but yeah. So I did. I stayed. I ended up staying for a week. I changed my flight and I stayed in Connecticut for a week. And I was just like, this is dope. It was kind of during the summer ish, so it was a little warm. It wasn't hot, but it was warm. Um, yeah, I really liked it, and I had already made my mind up before that. I was just like, yeah, like I want to be with like all my friends, and like I want to actually be able to play in the bands live that I started and do like writing for and stuff like that. And I just pulled the trigger and did it, and I'm glad I did. I'm better off than I ever have been.
And what was that journey like driving across the country? Were you like nervous or questioning if you made the right choice?
It was fun mostly. I just, I like a drive. I like an excursion. Like I go on like missions all the time. Like I'm always in different states playing different shows with different bands. Like last night I just was in Boston playing a show with like my band Eyeball. I like driving alone for a long time, but I drove for 3 straight days. Like I slept every day, obviously, but in total, it was a 70-hour trip. And it was crazy. Like, because then I would drive, it was kind of like still snow season for like states. So I was driving through like Colorado and it was just like cold. It was so cold and it was snowing and I like hit ice at one point and I was like spinning and I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, yeah, it was a lot of fun to see everything and like kind of stop in little places here or there and see like the landmarks and stuff. But then when it was over, I was so happy it was over.
And how long did it take you to like adjust to be like, oh shit, like I'm actually here. I'm no longer living in Las Vegas.
It took me like to adjust to the fact that I'm actually here. It was more or less like a week or 2 or 3, but then it was the feeling of, it was the inside part of like, oh, I kind of miss my mom, like I miss my family. Like I wish I could see them and their. That was hard. I'm still dealing.
We're back now. Yeah.
I think you got most of that, right? My trip.
Yeah. Okay. But you moved to Connecticut. Is it like, okay, straight to business? You obviously moved there to be close with your friends, but you also wanted to pursue these bands that you've been working on, but were unable to do shows with. Can you talk about, your mindset for when it comes to the bands that you're in?
Yeah. I'm like really, I try to be really serious about like the bands that I'm in. Like I want to like, it's obviously just like fun. It's supposed to be just fun, like just friends. Like I'm not trying to like blow up or be famous or anything, but like I also don't want to like not sound good at a show or like, like not take it serious. Joke band. Like I want to be like in like serious musical endeavors, but like not like I want to be famous or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So when I moved here, it wasn't straight to business, but it was like definitely not straight to not business. It was like, okay, let's practice. Let's think of songs. Let's write new stuff. Let's get shows. Like one of my first few weeks here, I like got here and I was at like a practice with a band and my friend was like, hey, you want to play a show with Tsunami? And I was like, yeah, like that sounds great. Like, let's do it. So that's kind of how it was. It was like, my mindset was like, okay, let's have fun and like be friends. But let's do music stuff just the same as that.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't like anything like, I'm not like some sort of like artist figure. Like I'm just a kid who just likes to play music a lot.
100%. And can you talk about the bands that you're in? Because you mentioned 18, but I'm only familiar with like 2.
It's not 18.
Okay.
It's I can pull up. I have like a note of a lot of it because it's definitely not 2.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't stop doing music. Like I love to do music all the time. Like I don't like to just not be doing anything. Like if I'm not doing something new and exciting, I don't know. There's just no point to me. So
I think it's awesome.
I'm in a band. So I sing for a band. It's like new metal called Paper Cut.
Mm-hmm.
I play bass in a band called Roselle Got Her Wings. I play third guitar in a band called Godskin Peeler. Um, I sing and like write all the music in like a pop punk band called All Warm. I play bass in a band called Adrian. I play guitar and like write for Bal Mora. There's a new band with me and the singer of Bal Mora. It's like a hardcore, like '90s kind of band. It's called Fail Son God. Um, I'm in a few unnamed projects, like just like unnamed bands, and then I play guitar in a band called Eyeball.
Okay, that's awesome.
So like a lot. It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And do you ever find it hard to manage, or do you ever feel overwhelmed?
Yeah. It's really hard. It's very overwhelming, especially with like a regular job, like 9 to 5. Like it's hard to manage like almost all the time, but it's worth it. Like the payoff of like playing shows all the time and like always being able to be with my friends and like, like going to new places, like across the country. Like I just got back from Florida from playing a festival. That's what's worth it to me, is like just the times that I get to have outside of all the stress,
Yeah. It's a nice payoff to be able to create, awesome music with your friends, but to be able to share it with the world, especially on a live stage.
That's really it for me. It's just playing on a live stage it's really my purpose. It's what I feel like gets me through every day. It wakes me up. It puts me to sleep. It does everything that I need. And to be able to like, it's like, okay, how do I do that more? It's just net more bands, do more musical things, play more instruments, go to more shows, just be in it, be about it. Like that's my thing. Like I just want to be my input into hardcore. I'm conscious of it. I want to make sure that I'm giving back to the scene,
100%. And I think that's awesome to hear from someone who's younger, right? Because I'm pretty old, but to to talk to someone like you and to hear you just want to be busy, and to hear you say that you're conscious of your contribution to the scene, I think it's really awesome. Because for me, I'm from California, so I'm like looking, on the outside looking in, and just to be a fan of the bands that you play in, and to see, what you and your friends are creating, and kind of, kind of making noise. Because for me to be aware of it over here, and to be such a fan, I think it's really cool to witness. Because just when I look at a band like Adrian and Bal Mora, and for you guys just to be playing that style of music today, which I feel like it isn't like the most popular style, but I feel like you guys are a part of this wave that's making it a popular thing, making kids like being like, hey, like metalcore is still viable, like in this day and age where like kids are more leaning towards the heavier side of hardcore.
It's so funny. It's really cool. It feels dope to be like a part of that sort of like wave, and but it's like two sides to every coin. Like I think it's so funny because I've heard people be like, "Oh, we have to stop Afira. We have to stop this. Like it needs to be all youth crew. Like this can't happen." Like everyone's like, "Please stop making metalcore bands. We can't do this anymore." I'm just like, "Yeah, we should make more." Like I think that's awesome. And it's like, okay.
I've never heard that, but anybody saying that they need to stop Afira.
I walked past, I was walking around This Is Hardcore, and I like heard somebody be like, "We need to stop Afira. They're ruining hardcore." And I literally thought it was so funny.
That is,
it's so funny.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's like that's our goal. I mean, if we're ruining hardcore, I mean, I guess let's do it. Let's ruin it.
Yeah, I beg to differ, because what you guys are doing, it reminds me of like some of these older bands that I like grew up listening to, like from like the early 2000s. I used to listen to this band from Orange County called Odd Project, or there's this band called Life in Pictures from Arizona.
I heard that one.
Yeah, so like what you guys are doing reminds me of that kind of stuff, and I love that kind of music. So I think what you guys are doing is awesome.
I mean, that's what it is. It's really like fully just like a nostalgia. Like we like this kind of stuff, and we want to make it. Like it's that simple. Like there's not two of my bands that sound the same. Like I like to do different stuff with everything. Like I like to get all of my avenues out in like different pages, because then if you do it all in one, it's like okay, this is all over the place. Like I need one. Every band has like a streamlined sound. Like I like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's smart too because, first of all, it's nice to be able to be that creative to play many different styles, but also if you're just this dude playing in a bunch of bands that all sound the same, like
it's like
it could be a turn off.
Might as well just be in one band.
Mm-hmm.
I like to do different stuff. It helps my creative brain feel, like it feels like I'm doing something that I'm. It's worth my while. Because I'm like, oh, like I really like nu metal. Like I can't put nu metal parts in Bal Mora. Like I'm just gonna go write a paper cut song, or like I really love like shoegaze. Like I'm gonna like play an eyeball set and like feel like feel like I've like exercised my that creative part of my brain. Like I'm not about to like get up on stage and start playing like tremolo riffs in like a rock band. Like I need like separation is important to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's awesome that you're having like the ability to do that and to cover so much ground and playing in so many different bands because because the styles that you've listed, I'm really curious about that pop punk band.
I mean it's out, you can listen to it. It's the I call it the secret of fear release because no one ever really like cared when it came out. Like it was the second release on our label, and it's called All Worm, and it's just 2 songs. It's a promo, and then on November 15th there's an EP coming out.
Okay, this is great timing because I'm a huge fan of pop punk, so I'm always curious to check out new bands because I used to like go on like Blogspot to like because I was never like super deep into pop punk just because I feel like as I'm getting older, it's like getting harder to find pop punk bands for me to actually like. So whenever I hear about a new band, I'm like, cool. Like, let me check it out and see if it like scratches that itch for me, and I can add a new pop punk band to the long list of bands that I like.
Right? Yeah. Like I would say it's been described to me as like early Title Fight and like early Jimmy Eat World, and then like The Story So Far is like what I've heard from it.
Okay, and I'm a fan of all 3 of those bands.
Dude, so. I love The Story So Far. The Story So Far is one of those bands for me,
Okay, and do you like all like Story So Far? Because obviously, dude, from like the first record to the current, it's like sonically, it's not the same.
It's all good. It's all good. I think that anyone that says Proper Dose is bad just doesn't get it. Like you don't understand. Like they grew up, bro. Like that's what it sounds like now. Like it's like rock. It's awesome. They have like tambourines and stuff. I don't know. I love that band so much. And then like my favorite record by them is What You Don't See. But like even like the Maker split, like that's a great split. Mm-hmm. I love that. The one before that's awesome. Like I watched this video of them in 2010 covering Blink-182 all the time. It's awesome.
Yeah, no, I think they're a great band. Yeah, I think they're a great band. I've been a fan, so it's cool to see them, grow right as musicians because it's one of those things where it's just like I would love for them to release a record that sounded like their old stuff, but at the same time, it's really cool to be able to see them progress as musicians, but still be able to put out quality music because there's bands that I love the older stuff, but as they got older and as they put out newer records, it just kind of went downhill, and I'm just so confused.
Such cases.
Yeah, so for them to be able to have such a big discography, and for me, I think every record is great.
Even the new song's awesome. It's great. It just sounds like Proper Dose to me.
I feel like the new song is like better than Proper Dose, where I'm just like, wow, how did they do this? Right? It somehow sounds like a more progressed version of Proper Dose, which is crazy because Proper Dose sounds crazy good. It's so good. I love that record. I think there's so many songs on it that no one talks about. Like it's so good. I can talk about them forever, which is funny because like I know people who know like Parker because obviously he's like integrated in hardcore heavily. Mm-hmm. He's like No Pressure and all that. So there's a chance that he like sees this and it's like like I'm sorry. No, they can be fine. It's, we're giving them their flowers, right?
All my friends are gonna be like, I hate you. Of course, you spent 20 minutes talking about the story so far.
They're just one of those few bands that got big enough to see people turn their backs on them because that happens with so many bands, right? They're so good, they get so big, so popular, then it becomes a thing to talk crap about them.
Yeah, like Knocked Loose, prime example.
Yeah, Knock Loose.
I mean, I still think they're so good. I think it's great.
Yeah,
But everyone's
they're
like,
special.
oh, they're TikTok now. They suck.
No,
They play big. They play big shows, which means they're bad. No, it actually means they're good. It
Yeah.
means that they're good enough to break through. Like, I don't understand people.
It's
good music. You're coping.
yeah, it's strange, but it happens, right? Like you reach a certain level of popularity, you know, the scene turns on you, which is you know, it's look at all the bigger bands from hardcore. That's the case, right? Somebody will be talking crap about all of them, which is sad because you want to see, you know, these hardcore bands do good, but you don't want to see them do too good because then people start talking crap. It's just it's terrible.
Everyone's like, they sold out. It's like, dude, shit. Would you not want money? Like, I want money.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna go try and go get it, but if someone offers me like hundreds of thousands of dollars for playing music, is that not my goal? Like, that's my goal. Like, that's what we all want to do. I mean, you can say, like, there are people who will say, like, yeah, like, I just want to play on the weekends and have like a 9 to 5. Like, that's fine. That's totally fine. And like, I would be fine. I'm fine with that too. Like, if that's how I am for the rest of my life, I'm chilling. But like, if someone's like, hey, we want you to play an arena tour with Metallica for $1 million, I'm like, okay, yeah, like, that's great. Like, that's what I want to do. You know,
100%. Yeah, it's just haters. Just
haters. Everyone's a hater.
Yeah. Now
I like everything.
Same here. I'm a huge fan of all types of music, but I'm curious about the label. Can you talk about how that got started? Because I think that's a really cool thing to obviously to not only play in bands, but to start a label, to start this movement. I think it's pretty awesome.
I mean, it was not even a thought in our minds that it would become some sort of like people say it's a movement. People say it's like, oh, you guys are bringing core back. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, whoa. Like, so how it started is it's just like me and a few homies in Discord, like just chilling in a Discord call, like watching YouTube, like, you know, like the normal day. And we all have our like respective projects that we're working on. Like the singer Bal Mora, like my roommate Senti, he was working on Bal Mora. I wasn't in the band at this point. I joined Bal Mora like later, but he's working on like the first demos, like the band's practicing and stuff. And it's like, yeah, like, I can't wait to put this out. And at the same time, I'm working on the second Paper Cut record. Like, can't wait to put this out. And then my other friend, Vaughn, he's from New Jersey. So it's me, Senti and Vaughn are like kind of the CEOs. Like, they're like the guys in Afira. Like, they are like the owners. We are all working on our projects. Vaughn's working on his project. Senti's working on his project. I'm working on my project. Everyone's working on music that they want to put out. And then, well, one of us goes, well, what if we put it out on like a thing, like a little friend thing? I was like, that's such a good idea, because like, I mean, we could just self-release all of it and it would be cool, but like, we want to show that we're like connected. Like, we want to show this unity that we have as friends. So it didn't even start out as like a label. It was like a little collective. Like, we didn't have a name for it. We were just like, yeah, let's do that. Let's put it all out on the same thing somehow. We'll make like a Bandcamp page. So then we started thinking of names. And I can't remember if there were any. I can't remember any of like the names before this, but then like Senti suggested the name Afira because Bal Mora was originally going to be called Afira. It's like a Gears of War. I think it's a Gears of War like map, and it's also like that's where he gets it from. He like used to play Gears of War professionally, but
oh really?
Yeah,
that's crazy. I love Gears of War, by the way.
Dude, you got to talk to him about that.
I've been trying to talk to him low key.
Really?
Yeah, I'll talk to you about it afterwards.
Okay. So, yeah, he was just like, what if we called it Afira? Because, I mean, like, it just seems really cool and looks cool on paper. And, like, we can just think of another name for this metalcore band. And everyone's like, yeah, like, that sounds cool. So then we just went with that. And, you know, Vaughn mocked up this little gun girl logo. And we've been using it ever since. And we put out all the music under it. And suddenly, it seems like overnight everyone was talking about it. Like, oh, look, all these bands just dropped and they're all so good and they're all under this new thing. Like, what's going on? And we started getting like a lot of attention and we were like, wait, so we should like make like CDs and stuff, right? So it was kind of like an accident. Like, we did not expect it to be this big.
I think it's awesome though. For it to start in Discord and to become a cool thing, because I feel like you guys have had a lot of great releases.
I appreciate that so much. Like genuinely.
Okay. And can you talk about Adrian?
Adrian. I was not in the band when Adrian started. I'm a recent addition, so there's not much. I can only provide so much information, like from what I've known so far. My first show with them was April of this year. It was like April 8th or something like that. Yeah, I mean, they just needed a new bass player, and I was like, sure. Like, they're like, you can't find anybody else in your area. Like, I had originally said no. I was like, I'm a little far. Like we won't be, you won't be able to make it to every practice. Like, is that like what you really want? And they're just like, yeah, we can't find anybody. So I was just like, dude, sure, like I'll do it. And now it's like, now I just do it, and it's fun. And they were already on days. When Afira was started. So they were on days when Afira started. And then Lumpy, who is a great friend, he plays bass in Bal Mora. He's like one of our best friends now. He's all for Afira. I mean, we didn't know how it was gonna be, because we were like, oh, like another label in Connecticut. Like, does it really need one? Probably not. Like, Days is like, it's like the capital of hardcore, but he was like for it. Like, he was like talking to Senti, because him and Senti were friends before Afira. And he was just like, no, this is awesome. Like, we need more labels. Like, this is dope. I support everything you guys do. Like, yeah, like, this is dope. So then we like, Fredo was talking to, because Fredo, the singer of Adrian, is in Afira. So he was like, hey, Lumpy, like, do you think we could split release with Afira? Because, like, I started the label. He's like, dude, yeah, like, of course. So, it was just really cool to have him be chill to work with like our stuff, and now it's just like normal. So that's how Adrian became like Afira and Days. Same with Since My Beloved. The same thing happened with Since My Beloved. Since My Beloved was like, hey, like, we're really good friends with these guys. They have a label too. Can we work with Afira as well? And Lumpy, he's the best. He's just like, yeah, of course. Like, I don't see why not.
Yeah, and I think that's really cool of him to be chill and to be so supportive of what you guys are doing, because obviously someone like him, who's behind Days, and Days is such a big thing, such an awesome thing. So for him to be able to want to support you guys and not be a hater, I think that says a lot about him. It's
awesome. I mean, me being young, I'm like, oh, he's gonna hate us. Like, we're like, this is before I knew him. I'm like, great. We're trying to take a spot. He's gonna see us as we're trying to take a spot. We're his competition. He's gonna hate it. And then like Senti was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, he likes us and he thinks it's dope. I was like, dope.
Yeah, and I'm a huge fan of Adrian. Alfredo's been on the podcast before.
Yes.
Yeah, and I reached out to him because they played the Hardcore Pride weekend, and I reached out to Alfredo to see if I could do a collab shirt, which he was down for. And then,
I love that shirt.
Yeah, and shout out to Nick Bertles. He's the one that, great dude. I love Nick Bertles. So, and he was the one that designed it. So if you look on the shirt, like, his credits there too. Awesome. Yeah,
Nick Bertles, James Ork podcast. It's so dope.
Yeah. So I was so honored too, because I there's only like limited quantity, and it was only sold at the Hardcore Pride weekend. So a lot of people don't even know that we did that, but that was something that I was very stoked on.
It's awesome. People don't know that shirt exists. Like, I'll wear it. Like, I have one. Like, I made for it. It was before I was in the band. This was the last show that they played before me.
Okay.
Before I was the bassist. And I was like, Fredo, you need to save me one of those. And they did. And sometimes I wear it, or like I'll show friends and like, what is that? Where is that? That exists? Because Adrian only does like evil designs. Like all of Adrian's shirts are like evil, scary design. But like, that's like a funny little like Aqua Teen Hunger Force shirt. And it's like, what? Like, that's gonna be one that's like you can sell for a lot of money. I already know.
Yeah, I have. I try to keep one of like all the collabs that I do. So I actually have one that I've never worn. So, and I'll never sell it because it's just something that.
Yeah, no, I'm never selling it either. I mean, I like having all the stuff from my bands too.
Okay. And how did you join Balmora? Because you just mentioned that you weren't in it in the early days.
Yeah. So Balmora started before I moved up here, when I was just in like other bands, like doing like Paper Cut and like stuff like that. And I was like stoked to have a band that I would be able to see and like dance for and like sing the words to. Like when I got there, I was like, hey, I love metalcore. Like, you know, the first few Avenged Sevenfold records are like my favorite metalcore records, you know. Like I'm like a big metalcore guy. Like a lot of people think like before I did like Bal Mora, like they're like, oh, like he just likes new metal. He doesn't like hardcore or anything. I'm like, dude, like I love hardcore. I love new metal. I love metalcore just as much. So I move up here. I'm seeing all these demos. Everything is so dope. It doesn't sound like it does now. It started out like as like a Zayo band. Like it sounded like Zayo, you know, just kind of like panic chord, like scary metalcore, not like triumphant war metal. Like it was that, and I was so stoked. And they needed a bass player so bad. They were like, we want to start playing shows. We need a bass player. I was like, dude, I hope you find one. It was the same thing with Adrian. I was like, hope you find one, man. I want a mosh. Sorry.
Yeah.
I said no so many times to playing bass because I was like, I just want to mosh to this band. Like, I love this. I just need to see this, like, as a viewer. And then eventually they got me to cave. I was like, okay, I understand that you can't play shows. I'll do it. So I go to the first practice, play the one song that they had, which actually turned out to be Angel's Final Prayer. Played it on bass. It was great. Everything was well, you know, it was fine. But then Danny was Danny's original guitar player. He sings in Kidnapped, and he turns to Senti and he's just like, something's not right. He needs to play guitar. It was like, he can't play bass in this band. And I looked at him and I was just like, yeah, you're right. I don't want to play bass in a band like this. Like, I want to be able to shred and like write riffs and stuff and like write slams. So originally Balmora turned out to be, we had gotten our other friend to play bass instead. And it was 3 guitars. It started out as a 3 guitarist band. And then we would become a 2 guitarist band because we just weren't vibing with somebody. Like it wasn't no bad blood. Like we're still like good friends with him. We love him so much, but he just wasn't the vibe for the band. So that's how Balmora became. That's how I became a guitar player. And like, cause everyone's like, wait, what do you mean you were the bass player? I was like, I wasn't for long. I was bass player for maybe 30 minutes. And then I moved to guitar, and then I was like, wait, I'm playing guitar. Does this mean I can write? And they're like, yeah, you can write. And then I went home and, you know, in me style, typical me fashion, I went home and I wrote like 4 songs in like 2 days. And, you know, it just became the EP. That's just how it turned into that. It turned into this kind of, you know, prayer for cleansing, undying kind of sound, like just like 90s triumphant metalcore with black metal influence. And then it has breakdowns. Like that's what it turned into.
Wow. So from not wanting to be in the band to going home and writing music.
Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting. Like when you went home and, you know, when you realized that you were, you know, okay to write stuff, was it a long process or did it just come to you like, you know, pretty quick?
It came to me like this because I love like I was just thinking like Avenged Sevenfold, like like the first record and then Waking the Fallen. Waking the Fallen is my favorite metalcore record of all time. So I'm just like, okay, I can just like do harmonies and stuff and then do like hardcore breakdowns because they didn't really have those on that record. It was kind of just like a metal record. So I just combined the two and I was listening to a lot of like Prayer for Cleansing, a lot of like Undying, and then like I added stuff, a lot of influence from like Cradle of Filth and Dissection and like just like black metal bands. And then like actual black metal too. And then it just kind of came together and molded into this sound that we now have. And I think the first song that I ended up writing, we had wrote the first 30, 40 seconds in person of Under the Weight of a Blackened Sky. And then I went home and I was like, this is perfect. This is all I need. I can finish the song at home. Like I just needed like a little foundation of it. So then we played it. It was good. It sounded good. Needed work, obviously. Needed someone to like go home and touch it up. So I did. I like wrote the whole thing, and then I put it all together, brought it, sent it in the group chat, and they were just like, "This is unbelievable! Like this is the one." So we ended up recording it with our good homie Chaz at The Source in New Haven, Connecticut. You can find him on Instagram at The Source. He's dope. He does a lot of cool stuff. He did the Wreckage record. He does Ultimatum record. He did the Nomad record too, like the new one and the EP. He's awesome. So we recorded it with him, and then we put it out as like the fourth Afira release, I think it was. It was kind of like also a secret release. Like we didn't say anything about it. So we recorded that single and put it out as a split single with our brother band, Rizal Got Her Wings from Jersey, which is Vaughn's band. So they put one song, we put one song, put it out. People were like, oh, this is cool, but I feel like it didn't really catch very well. So I don't know. It felt cool to have that song out. It wasn't, I didn't need anyone to care really. I just wanted to do it for me. But then like our homies, obviously, like everyone that we wanted to care did care. And then it was just, we just wrote on that for a while, and then I went back home and wrote a bunch of the other songs. Like I think funnily enough, the fourth song, the last like 7-minute long song, came next. I wrote that song, the second song after Under the Weight. I wrote the last one, and it was like, whoa, this is long and anthemic. And it has like the final mosh, I call it, at the end, like the really like slow syncopated part. I was like, this has to be like an ender, so we'll just save it for the end. And then we had Angel's Final Prayer already. We just reworked it, recorded it, put it as third, and then I wrote that song called July Unending real quick. It just kind of happened really quick. And then we went back to Chaz, re-recorded everything. And then we released the EP as kind of like a surprise because we wanted to play our first show. We were playing our first show, which is our first Afira showcase in April of this year. And we were like, we kind of want the demo EP out before, like a few days before, so people kind of know the words. Maybe they'll mosh, who knows? We had no idea what was going to happen. So we recorded it, put it out maybe 2 or 3 days before that show. It literally pops. I was literally just like, whoa, everyone's talking about it on Twitter. Everyone's talking about it on Instagram. I was like, this is crazy. People really like this. And I was like, this is also funny because it was out and no one cared. And then the EP comes out and everyone's just like, whoa, like, what's this band? I was like, we've been around. Like, no shit.
Just took a little time.
Took a little time, a few weeks. So we played that first show with all the Afira bands. It's like, we don't know. We're going into it not knowing what to expect. We're like, it's probably going to be like from 45 people sold. Like, it's not going to be that big, we didn't think. But then we started seeing tweets and stuff of like, hey, like, I'm driving from Tennessee to see this show. Who wants to ride with me? And we were just like, what? And then like our friend from Seattle flew from Seattle to see it. We had people fly from California to see it. Like, it was like, whoa, like, you're all coming to this VFW in Connecticut. Like, that's crazy. Like, people were getting Airbnbs for the Afira Showcase 1. Like, never even heard what Bal Mora sounds like live. What if we suck? Like, so we then played, and it was unbelievable. It was like, the demo had been out for maybe 2 days, and people knew all the words. People knew all the words. People knew all the mosh parts. Everybody was dancing. It felt like just so redeeming and good. It felt like all the hard work paid off. I got to play the set in like my big Arc'teryx jacket and look like an idiot. Like, it was everything that I ever wanted from a show was that. It was hot and disgusting, and it was raining, and everyone was passing out and hot. And it was great. And then like all the other Afira bands played after. Rizal played the first show. Paper Cut played a show. It was Adrian headlined. Since My Beloved came all the way from Texas to play it. It felt like Hellfest to me. And we managed to pack almost 200 people into that little room for our first Afira showcase.
I think that's awesome.
It's crazy, dude. I still can't wrap my head around it.
Yeah, well, I feel like that's just a real testament to the music, right? People are so into the music that they're willing to travel so far just to witness it live.
Yeah.
Which I think is awesome. And yeah, I obviously missed the secret drop with the split because I didn't hop on until that EP came out because I couldn't escape it on social media.
Right, like everybody was posting about it, and I was just sitting there like, this is crazy. Like,
yeah, but it's well deserved because even to this day I listened to that record and I'm just like, man, this band has it. These kids are special.
Thank you so much. It means the world to me. Like, that's like my favorite band that I've ever done. that band is like the band for me. Like Balmora is like my main. That's my baby. Like,
Mhm.
and it's working. Like it's actually working. Like we're playing like FYA. Like that's like my biggest goal in hardcore. Like
Dude,
when I got into hardcore, like
you're
I can't believe I'm playing FYA. Like I'm like freaking out. Like
yeah, that's gonna be my first time seeing you guys live, so I'm pretty
dude, I'm
stoked.
so excited. We got so much planned for that show. Many surprises indeed.
Oh, interesting. Okay, and I'm also really stoked. Or actually, no, I lied. No, my first time seeing you guys will be here in California.
Oh, it's for the children.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be so dope. We also have surprises. We like to have fun at festivals.
Yeah, and that was one thing. Like looking at the lineup, because for the children, they always do a really great job of bringing a special lineup every year, and it's also for like a really great cause. But when I'm like looking at the announcements, I'm like, okay, like a lot of great bands. But when I saw Bal Mora, I was like, oh wow, like that's the I mean, I'm not even saying that just because you're here, but when I saw your guys' name on the flyer, I'm like, okay, this is what I'm most excited for, because also one, I've never seen you guys live, and then two is just like for me, just being such a fan and just knowing that you guys, like I said, I feel like you guys are like a special group of kids doing this. So for you guys to be able to get out pretty early in your career to California, it's not even a tour either, right? You guys are just like coming crazy out, doing a couple West Coast stuff. I think it's gonna be really good for you guys, because I'm sure there's people who may have like heard your name but may not be in tune, or I might even be wrong. Our kids might be already in tune. It's gonna be a crazy set for you guys.
I think from what I've seen and from what I have seen, like responses on Twitter for like Balmora stuff or Fear stuff, like I see almost every day I see somebody say come to LA or come to California. So I mean I've been told that it's gonna be like the set. I think it's gonna be really cool. I don't know. I know that we have some stuff. We have things that we're doing during that set that you can't deny. So
Mm-hmm.
we love to just like put like fun little Easter eggs and like covers and certain surprises in like special shows. So like FYA, there will be some fun stuff for the children. There'll be some fun stuff like any like record release. We'll probably do some fun stuff like we're playing the Koya record release next month on Long Island, and like we got some fun stuff planned for that. Like it's just about having fun. Like if you're not having fun, like there's just no point in doing it.
And what's it going to be like for you to play Vegas? Because you guys have a crazy Vegas show too.
I'm so excited to go home. I'm excited to play my home again. That's really it. And then like we have a lot of friends from out there that are stoked. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a packed out room because I mean, Tsunami plays there all the time, but Tsunami could pack out Eagle on like a Monday morning. Yeah. Everyone would be there.
Yeah, that band is like unstoppable. It's awesome.
They're awesome. Yeah, it's gonna be dope to like play that show and then go to like my grandma's house and eat like Italian food and then go to sleep on like a nice place, and then wake up and then drive to LA and play the fest. It'll be dope.
Okay, and can you talk about who is it? Michael Ireland? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Michael Ireland.
Yeah,
Meaty Michael himself. He's a certain character. We love him. He's actually a scientist.
Oh,
he does like experiments in his room. I don't know. He's crazy.
Oh wait, is he like a real scientist, or he's just like a?
He's a doctor in a lab. I'm serious.
Okay,
we don't know what he does.
Wait,
he's in there cooking up.
Interesting.
Stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. He has a lot of machines that he builds. He builds devices.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I bring him up because he played on the Bal Mora record.
Yes, he did. He did the piano intro and the outro.
Yeah, which I love that because I'm like, okay, this fits with the genre, right? It's something that I think is really awesome that you guys included.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we love like stuff like that, like really anthemic piano, choir. I mean, on the new Balmora songs, there's going to be choir, probably some strings. Okay. I like the whole like theater kid aspect of it, like all like the leads, all like the like it's like supposed to sound like it's a war, like you're raising your sword, So we thought, what better way to do that than start the EP with like a piano intro? Like it does it the same way on like, Winter's Gloom by Prayer for Cleansing, like that little interlude. It was like really inspired by that. If you talk to Mike, he'll tell you it's all Jasmine's Lullaby by Seven Angels, Seven Plagues. That song for him, like that's his favorite song ever. He plays the piano part all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He had never played on anything, like any records before. He never thought he would get asked to play on any records, but he's just a really good friend of ours. He's one of the best people I've ever met. I love him so much. And I just always hear him playing piano. I'm like, you want to do something? Like, you want to like play piano on the EP? And he's like, you're not serious, right? Like, no, I'm serious. You can write it. Senti was like, yeah, like, do you want to do it? And he's like, I can sure try. So he sent that. And in a few days, he like wrote that. And we were just like, this is perfect, dude. Like, what? And then it came out and he was just like, I can't believe I'm on a record. Like, that's crazy. So we had made his like dream come true.
I think that's awesome that you guys are so supportive and down to have him on the record. I think it fits really well.
Yeah, me too. I think that the thing that he wrote for it is perfect, and then the way that it transitions into like the reprisal on the last song, and then it goes into like a different direction, and it ends with like the dun 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 dun, like the tri chord thing. It's so dope, and it's really just about like just friendship and like being close knit and like unity and stuff like that. Because I mean, we could have like hired like some Bach piano player, but we're like, no, we want Mike to do it. Like Mike has to do it, and one day he's gonna play it live. He literally says he'll never do it. He says never in a million years will I get on a stage and play a piano live at your show. And I was like, no, you are. One day you will.
You should. That sounds like it would be awesome.
It would be awesome. It has to be for like something really special.
Okay. Well, you have some special stuff coming up.
He's very scared of doing that.
Okay.
And I was like, you shouldn't be. Everyone would be so stoked.
Mm-hmm. And I love the title of the record, the names of the songs. They're all sound very awesome. How do you decide on stuff like that? Because you could obviously go with something way more simple, but I just feel like that wouldn't fit the vibe.
It's Senti. Senti writes the lyrics. He has his own story behind like the record. Like a lot of people always think that the record is kind of just like, oh, he's just kind of saying gibberish about like wars and stuff because that's like thematic.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It all has a meaning. Everything means something. It's very deep and heavy. And like I don't want to like air his shit out. Like if you talk to him, I don't know if he would tell you, but maybe he would. I'll talk to him. But it's not bullshit. Like everyone's just like, oh, it's just like I've heard people say before that it's like, oh, it's like big word metalcore. Like he's just saying big words over riffs, and it's like, nah, it all has a meaning. It all means something. He decides on the names. He just, we write the songs, and I'm just like calling them song 1 and 2, and then he'll come back one day and be like, it's called this, and I'm like, okay, good. Like I'm never gonna be like, no, like that's his job.
Mm-hmm.
He's the lyric guy. He's the name guy.
Who's the art guy? Because I saw because I saw the other day on Instagram somebody posted the original like artwork for the Bal Mora record.
He did that.
Okay.
Yeah, he did the original art, but then the one that actually ended up being this one. I have it on CD right here. So this one is Alfredo from Adrian.
That's awesome.
Yes, Alfredo did that. And it originally had a typo, and then we just like fixed it, and that's it.
Wait, what was the typo?
The typo was okay. So it's called With Thorns of Glass and Petals of Grief, right?
Mm-hmm.
They put pedals like bike pedals. Like
with a D.
Yeah, with a D. And I didn't see it. Like we didn't catch it until we were like uploading it. I was like, dude, that would be so bad. But it honestly would have been old school to just leave it.
Yeah, just like fuck it.
I mean, like Nomad, when Nomad released their EP, they had a typo, and there's a song called Future Primitive, and they had Future Primative, like P, like an A, primitive.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of sick looking. I was like, don't change it. It's awesome. But then they changed it because they were like, nah, it has to be real. I was like, you should have left it.
Yeah, good old typos. Yeah, you gotta double check everything.
Dude, yeah, I'm glad I caught it. I'm definitely glad I caught it.
Yeah, and that's like very last second too, right? You're uploading and you're like, holy shit.
Dude, it was like uploading and I was like, wait, this says pedals, not petals. And they're like, no way. And I was like, yep. It's funny.
Okay, and I'm curious about Papercut. You've obviously mentioned them quite a few times, so I have to bring them up. Can you talk about what's going on with the Papercut?
Yeah, Papercut has played a few shows. It's kind of all me. Like what it is it's just me writing everything and like programming drums and like I write like all the music, like 100% of the music.
Mm-hmm.
And then like it's like members of like other CT bands and like Bal Mora and like stuff like that, like just coming together and playing it like in a room. But people really like that. I don't know. It's less of like a serious band for me. That's like one of my bands that like I don't really take seriously. It's kind of just like a diary for me to like get my stuff out, you know. But we've played a few shows. It's not really a high priority band. Like, of course, it's like, okay, do you want to play this show with Papercut on this day or this show with Balmora on this day? I'm like probably always gonna pick Balmora just because that's like the band that I want to be active, more active than that. But yeah, I mean, Papercut, we got something planned for maybe late this year. No, probably early next year or mid next year. Like, there's like a split happening. That's pretty cool. But I just can't imagine that there will be many shows for it because I mean, Vaughn lives in New Jersey, like can't always practice all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and it's also just like it's not like it doesn't need to have shows. I don't think, but there's been enough to me.
Okay, but there could be more in the future.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the band's not over. Like people are always like, "Oh my God, Balmora blew up and Papercut's done." No, it's not done. I'm just busy.
Yeah, and that's a good reason, right? So
yeah,
right here, Papercut is not done.
dude. I'm literally put it on the record. All my homies that are asking me like, no, it's not over. Like Tommy, the DJ, will always text the chat and be like, "Is this done or are we playing?" I'm like, "No, it's not done, bro." He's like, "I'm booking us a show now," and I was like, "Okay." Like, it's not done. I'm just busy with other stuff.
Yeah, and when I look at Connecticut, like hardcore, I'm just so fascinated by it because there's so many good bands, and there's always been good things coming out of Connecticut, right? Because you look at a band like Restraining Order, right? They've been like super busy. And then like Days there because Lumpy moved there a while back, and Wreckage is awesome. When I look at
Wreckage, fucking rocks.
They started off the year like great. They set the tone because like even to this
January
day,
1st.
Yeah, to this day that Wreckage record is still so good.
It's so good. I had the fortune of playing bass for them on a tour. It was cool. It was probably the most normal thing I've ever done when it comes to hardcore. Mm-hmm. Everyone's looking at me with I'm like wearing big Jinko shorts and like a choker and like have bleached blonde hair and I'm just playing Youth Crew songs and there's like,
who's this guy? Yeah.
Well, they know me from like Balmora and Adrian, and they're like, "Oh, this guy's evil. He plays in evil bands. I can't believe he's playing in standard tuning on a Fender. Like that's crazy."
Yeah, and then like Broken Vow released a record recently.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys got great stuff out there, and then I even love
Broken Vow and Restraining Order are like split between Western Mass and Connecticut. Like I just printed a shirt. I was printing a shirt the other day. It says Broken Vow Western Mass Hardcore, but I know some of them live in Connecticut. So
yeah, and then I'm a huge fan of Anxious and dying for that Last Straw record whenever that's gonna come out.
Yeah.
So I feel like you made a really great choice to move.
I did too. I'm really proud of Connecticut. Even like just being here for not even a year, like I've been trying to like earn my place and all that, and I'm proud of it. I'm proud of what Afira is doing. I'm proud of what Wreckage is doing. Days, all the homies, like big up everybody. Shout out everybody. Everybody rocks. I wish that we had more venues because we just had the Wham Leg close and the State House close at the same time, so we don't have that many venues anymore. But I wish that we had more venues. I wish we still had the Wham Leg. I wish we could still throw all the shows. Because I mean, if we had like all the venues that we used to have, I mean, it would be a show every weekend. Like I promised, there would be a show every weekend. It would be like dope. Shout out all the people that dance. Everybody like just rocks. Like I love it here.
And Can you talk about your more recent trip to Florida? Because I feel like that was a really cool thing that they put on out there.
Yeah, we went down to South Florida to support and play at Equinox Fest. It's the second one.
Mm-hmm.
The first one was dope. I think like a bunch of old bands played that one. This one was like just kind of newer bands, but it was pretty cool. We went down, drove down almost a full day of driving because it's fun and less expensive. So we went down. It was super fun. It was just a bunch of friends hanging out. Like Mike came. Since My Beloved played, so it was just all of the Fira family, the homies hanging out. Vaughn couldn't go because he had a work trip, but he wanted to. Lots of Wawa, lots of Waffle House. You know the vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Stayed with like the Seed of Pain guys. Love those guys. I played bass in Seed of Pain that day too at that fest.
Oh wow! So you're busy.
I mean, yeah, I didn't. I'm actually. This was the first time that this has actually ever happened to me. I was too busy to learn the Seed of Pain songs at home because I was working. So I was working and I had a show after every single day. And then the weekends were full. I was playing shows. I didn't really have time to sit down with the songs. And then I got there and we learned them pretty much day of, like kind of day before. But the bulk of it was learned like day of. And then I just got on stage and played it, and it was dope. Sounded good. I was very surprised that I was able to do it.
Yeah, that sounds nerve-wracking. Learning a bunch of songs.
I was very nervous. I've never had to do that. Like day of learn a bunch of songs, like a whole set list. But it worked out, and it was awesome. And then Bal Mora played, and we covered "Botched Love" by Poison the Well, which is awesome. One of my favorite songs. And then we closed the set with a cover of Hardcore Pride by Seed of Pain, and it was dope. It was so awesome.
That's awesome. That's a great song too. Shout out Seed of Pain, great band.
I love them. They're all my freaking guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looked cool. I saw a bunch of videos, so it looked like kids showed up, and I like the lineup too. I think it was like a great crop of like really newer bands.
I'd say like my favorite sets were the Since My Beloved set, the Collateral set.
Great band.
I really liked. I wasn't watching Accelerate because I was learning the bass parts in the van, but I heard what they were playing and I was like, "This is dope." They covered Breakdown. That was awesome. Leaving Time was dope because they sound checked with a Crowbar song, and me and like Jordy from Fading Signal just started moshing and like jumping. We were so excited. We thought they were gonna play the whole thing. They didn't. But they did cover the Iceman. Leaving Time, the shoegaze band covering the Iceman. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Collateral was cool. What did they cover? They covered something. I don't remember. Dogmatic was awesome. I didn't get there. We got there right when their set finished, but like I like saw videos and stuff. It was so dope. They covered Left 4 Dead, which is so sick. It was just really fun family vibe. It was hot as fuck outside. Like you get it. Like sitting outside by the merch table, sweating, making jokes, chilling, going to the gas station. Just a normal fest vibe.
Yeah, I like fests, but I like to space them out because just being around a bunch of people.
Yeah,
just makes me not want to be there.
It gets a lot. But Equinox Fest wasn't bad because it wasn't like 500 people. It was probably like 200, 300 people. It wasn't that bad.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to hear that it was a good time. But a couple things before we wrap up. I am curious, with your setup, is there a specific reason why you have such a nice microphone?
Oh, just recording. I like recording in my room. That's how I write everything. I have like a little interface, and I have like my little pedal board, and I just plug my pedal board into my interface and then into my computer, and I record on Reaper. It's like a audio interface or a DAW. It's like super user friendly. I recommend it for anybody that wants to get into recording. It's $60, but you can get it for free. Just look it up on YouTube. Everybody gets it for free. You don't have to torrent it or anything. It's so easy to get it for free. Everybody knows you can get it for free. I didn't. I bought it because
you didn't know beforehand.
I wanted it to be official. I didn't know if it was going to get taken from me, but it's not going to get taken from you. I've learned that I wasted $60, but Yeah, I just record vocals on this guy. So I wanted a good mic. So I just invested, and now I have one forever that I won't ever need another one. Um, Recording, I love it. I love to just sit in my room and write records. Like that's how paper could happen. That's how Bal Mora like really started happening. Like it's all just in me sitting here with my guitar and like playing and then pressing record and then programming drums over it. That's how I write. I can't. It sucks. One thing that COVID like took away from me was being able to write in a room with people. I used to be able to write in a room, but then COVID happened and I started recording stuff, and then it's like I can't do anything but that.
Mhm.
Writing in a room is so hard for me. I like forget how to play my instrument. But yeah, that's why this guy's here, just for recording stuff. I want to start like actually recording though. I want to get like a cab up here and like mic up the cab and stuff like that instead of just plugging straight into my computer, and like maybe try out recording a band or something like that one day in the future.
Yeah, I feel like you could do it, right? Because you're already so talented, and you're really good with music. So I believe in you.
I appreciate that, dude. I really hope that it comes to fruition one day, and hearing that makes me want to do it more. So I appreciate that.
And you moved. It's been about a year. You said. Has there been like a single moment where you're able to kind of step back and be like, "Wow, this is awesome. This is like something that I'm very happy that I did." Have you had a chance to have like a moment like that?
Yeah, I mean, every time that I play a show here, or go to a show here, like I'm thinking of a specific show. There was a Raw Brigade show at a venue that we haven't. It's like a new-ish venue. It's like after this is post Wham Leg. There was a Raw Brigade show. Wreckage played, and it was at this new venue in Meriden. And I'm sure they didn't know how it was going to go. New venue, new place. Like, who's going to be there? Like, is anyone going to go? Does anyone care? But it packed out. It packed out. It was awesome. It was just friends. Like, every time I'm at a show, if I'm just hanging out with people, I get to walk around and dap everybody up and like have a conversation with everybody, like a genuine conversation, crack jokes, play a set, see people dance, interact, eat McDonald's. I don't know. I'm a simple guy. I like the small things. So like shows, just genuinely just shows in Connecticut make me realize like, wow, this is where I should be. I'm really happy to be here. Anytime I listen to Wreckage, or like, I don't know, even like the old bands, like I listen to Demons, I listen to Cast in Blood, I listen to Dismay. Like, I'm like, whoa, like I'm from here now. Like, that's cool. Like, I like living here. I can be prideful in a scene that I'm helping to build, and I'm trying to help build with like everything that I do. I try to help build. Like, I mean, even working, I work at Brass City Screen Printing in Connecticut. Like, I want to print hardcore shirts for bands. Like I want to work with hardcore. I want to live and breathe everything hardcore. Like, this is like my whole purpose in life, I feel like. Because I didn't know before, when I was just playing instruments and when I was younger, I didn't know if I was going to be ever part of anything on a stage or in a place that revolves around this kind of music. I just thought I was just going to be a guy that just plays. But, it's really cool to be a part of something really awesome.
Well, that was well said. It's great to hear. I'm, like I said, very happy for you. It's such a cool story, because going into this, I always thought you were, from Connecticut. So to hear that, you just moved out there, I think that's a great thing. And for someone who, moved away from home, and I didn't do it as young as you did, but I'm happy that I was able to move away and, just kind of grow in life and learn a lot of stuff that I probably wouldn't have back home. So I think it's really awesome that you were, brave enough to do that, because it's a big deal, especially for as far as you moved. I didn't move that far from home. I only moved like 2 hours, but for you to move across the country, I think it's really awesome.
I appreciate that so much. It takes a lot to, adult and be like a real adult. I mean, I'm still not an adult like I am, but it's hard. It's really hard, but it's worth it. I mean, like I said, every time I go to a show, every time I go to work and print a Wreckage shirt, or print even a Bal Mora shirt, or something like that. Like I like a few weeks ago or maybe last week, I can't remember. We printed the I helped print like the Kyle Fee benefit shirts. Like that felt really good to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm just like, wow, I'm printing a shirt for a benefit show on Long Island for somebody who really needs help and deserves to get help. It feels good that I'm involved in this. You know, like so like I just don't like to be away from hardcore. That's all.
100%. No, I love people like you who are so dedicated and people who care about the scene. So I think it's really awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, and trust me, like for me to have been around and to see like people that I wish cared more just drop out, but to kind of just navigate through the scene and meet people like you who care just as much as I do. I think it's really awesome.
I appreciate that. I'm really trying to do my part because I think that it's customary. You gotta do your part,
100%. Well, Jay, I really appreciate your time today. Definitely means a lot because I'm a huge fan of what you're doing. I'm definitely looking forward to what you do in the future. But before we sign off, is there anything else you would like to say?
Today, as of the filming date, right now, a new band on Afira just dropped called Ashara, everywhere on all streaming platforms. It's the guitar player of Bal Mora, Wayne. He sings in that band. It's members of Deal with God. Go listen to Ashara. Run that up. Bal Mora and Ashara tours are going to happen. It's going to be dope. Come do a show on the tour that we're doing. I mean, by the time this comes out, it'll already be over. Maybe. I'm not sure. But I'm sending the signals through the camera. You need to go to the shows. Yeah, I mean, shout out all my friends, all my family back home if they watch. Like, I love everybody. That's it.
All right. Well, thank you, Jay. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll be back soon. Goodbye.
Bye.